Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Welcome to M1 Racing and another round of the G-Force Racing League. Round 2, no less, of Season 5. My name is Mark. I'm going to be your host for the next hour or so as I do my best to talk you through all the action here in the next round of G-Force Racing. If you are new to the channel, you are very welcome. Please don't forget to hit the follow button and say hi. If you're watching the replay here on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. That way we'll let you know whenever there's new racing for you to feast your eyes upon. If you'd like to talk to me during today's racing action, please feel free to do so. You'll need a verified email on Twitch, and then you'll be able to say hi in the Twitch chat and get involved with me and the drivers and the other commentators that may come and join me at some point during today's races. Well, we've got a little bit of catching up to do. Round 1 was last week in Japan, and I'm delighted to say we have Dawling's GFR Digest back as one of our drivers from G-Force Racing, one of the Aston Martin drivers, M. Dawling, gives us his thoughts on the race that just was and what we could expect from the race that is about to be. So without any further ado, let me hand you over to M. Dawling and this week's edition of Dawling's GFR Digest.
Dawling's GFR Digest.
For round 2 of the G-Force Racing Elite League, we visit Bahrain for what will surely be another thriller. Let's look ahead and see what we might come to expect at the checkered flag on Wednesday night.
Marcel and G.
Marcel is a new driver to join the G-Force Racing League, and what a start he has had, finishing P1 in our first race of Season 5 in Japan. Marcel delivered a flawless race and will be odds-on favourite for another win in Bahrain, especially considering his performance at our pre-season Commentators' Cup event held at the same circuit. Obo is really finding his groove now, picking up a very strong P2 in Japan for round 1 and certainly establishing himself as a driver that will surely be fighting for podiums and victories through Season 5. Obo unfortunately won't be joining us for Bahrain, but we look forward to welcoming him back to the grid for round 3. Our Season 4 champ had an unfortunate collision in round 1, which will see them drop back through the grid mid-race. However, a strong and determined second phase of the race ensured they ended up in P3, showing even on a bad day, Jakob can still get the results needed to defend their title. Another odds-on favourite for victory in Bahrain, and we can't wait to see what this driver can do. Jaguarport ended round 1 in P4 after some great on-track battles. A fast-paced and consistent driver that will for sure be seeking a podium finish for round 2. M. Dorling's start to Season 5 got off to a bit of a bad start on lap 1 in Japan. However, a late safety car brought this driver back into the pack, and I'm sure they will be happy with a P5 finish given the dramas that ensued on track. With Bahrain perhaps not one of Dorling's strongest circuits, they may well be seeking a bit of damage limitation going into round 2. Gio had a few comings together in round 1 but still managed a P6 at the checkered flag. This driver may well perhaps be looking to iron out some aggressive defensive moves in their pursuit to continue to move further up the grid. We look forward to seeing what they can do at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Emil produced a very strong qualifying result, but this was ultimately undone in an unfortunate trip into the gravel on lap 1. This driver has been performing very well recently, and it is only a matter of time before we see them back onto the podium in the Elite League. Spiralex's first race with us here in the Elite League, and one they can be very happy with. Points on the board for themselves and their team should carry their momentum through into round 2. We look forward to seeing what they can do on Wednesday night. E36 performed well in Japan. Ultimately, a gamble onto the fast-wearing soft compound tyres ended up undoing perhaps a finish higher up the grid, but they can be happy with the improvements they make each week and look forward to what I'm sure will be a strong performance for them at round 2 in Bahrain. Emerge had great pace in Japan until a few unfortunate incidents cost them dear with our first DNF of the season. This driver is incredibly fast, so we cannot count them out fighting for victory in round 2. Ghosty never really got going in round 1. An attempt at completing 2 league events at the same time saw their AI have other ideas, which in the end results in a DNF. Goat's strongest track is Bahrain, so we can expect to see this driver fighting for the victory. We wish our drivers all the best for Wednesday's race, and if you are watching this for the first time and perhaps fancy taking part, please do follow the link to our Discord and social channels and come and be part of the one-of-a-kind GeForce Racing League. Let's go racing!
Dorling's GFR Digest.
Well, my huge thanks, as always, to M. Dorling for putting those words together for us. And last week in Japan was a cracking race. A bit of a weird one, actually, it's got to be said. It really went through lots of different phases, some quite confusing elements to it as well. But this is how it ended up. Marcelinki, a relatively new driver to GeForce Racing, coming home to take victory. Watch out for Marcel and the Red Bull team this season. We'll talk a bit more about that later. Mr. Hannes, welcome in the Twitch chat. I am doing very well, sir. Hope you are too. I know you've had perhaps a little bit of a tough day, but hopefully you're going to go well here, and I'm very delighted that you are out racing today. So Marcelinki was our champion last week in Japan. Obo came home in second. Not a bad drive from them at all. Desaves, Jakob, as we now know them, as Season 4 champion, finished in third. They had a bit of a tough race. They were fighting it out with Marcelinki early on. then led the way after their first pit stop, but then are coming together on the safety car restart with Gio, really shifted them back down the running order. They fought back into that third spot. 15 points for Jakob gets their account open in Season 5, but they're not going to have it their own way this season for sure. Jaguar, very strong drive for them, finished in 4th. Mr. Hannes, now I'm not sure David T is going to be on comms with me tonight. I'd very much like it if he was, and I'll keep an eye out in case David can step away from work maybe and come and join me, but I'm not expecting him to be here. But we do wish David T very, very well, and hopefully I will speak to him soon. M. Dorling finished in 5th, and we spoke to M. Dorling during the race last week in Japan. It was going horribly wrong at the start of that race in Japan, but it gradually got better to the point where they eventually finished in 5th. So Aston Martin finishing 2nd and 5th. Not a bad return on the opening race of the season. Gio there finished in 6th. Gio had some pace. They gradually worked their way into the race. Was some very aggressive defence from them against both Jakob and Emerge KDs, but they did hold into that 6th place in the finishing order. Emil, who we thought was going to go very well, didn't quite work out for them. 6 points, finishing in 7th. We welcome Spiralex to the McLaren team last race. Their first appearance here with us in G-Force Racing. They had some real pace early on. Didn't quite manage to keep that going throughout the whole race, but did finish there in 8th. Picked up some points on the opening race of the season. And Daddy Tonk, or as you'll see them on screen, E36 Goat, finished in 9th, picking up 2 points. Emerge KDs and Goat Ghosty both did not finish. No points for them. Emerge KDs and Goat Ghosty, I think, are in with a shout of potentially being a champion this season. Goat most definitely, and Emerge has already won a race in G-Force Racing, so watch out for those two if they are out today. I know Goat is going to be there. Not sure about Emerge though, so we'll keep an eye out for which drivers turn up in the lobby. You can see the lobby, top middle of your screen, folks, and on the right-hand side, you'll see the replay from last week in Japan. If you'd like to watch back the race from last week, please head over to the YouTube channel or my Twitch channel, and you'll be able to catch the whole stream there. So we've obviously only had one race. Don't read too much into the points standings just yet, but this is where we are after one race. So Master Linky leads the way, Obo in 2nd. Watch out for Obo throughout this season. I recall back to Bahrain in the start of Season 2. We'll talk a bit more about that a little bit later on, but Obo finished in Bahrain way down in 12th, and their teammate M. Dorling in 13th. Well, how times have changed. So Obo, 18 points for them early doors. Then comes Jakob Desaves on 15, Jaguar on 12, M. Dorling there on 10, Dio on 8, Emeleki on 6, Spiralex on 4, and Daddy Tonk on 2. Notable omission from last week's race was our league owner, SS7, who was very unwell, but I'm glad to say he is back with us this week, hosting the lobby, as he has done for the last 4 seasons before. And I've also seen in the drivers' chat, there's a certain double GFR champion, M1 Righty, and there they are in the lobby, is joining us for today's race as well. We're going to have some cracking drivers out there. Hannes, you've picked a cracking week to come back and come and join our drivers here in G-Force Racing. We have got some brilliant drivers to be out on track. We're intrigued to see how well M1 Righty goes up against M. Dorling, Obo, Goat Ghosty, Jakob, and so many others. SS7 will have something to say about today's race as well, I'm sure. Constructor standings, again, very early days for us, but Red Bull lead the way. That team, that new team of Emeleki and Master Linky, 31 points. Aston Martin, they're going to be strong with Obo and M. Dorling on 28. Williams there on 20. Mercedes on 15. McLaren there on 6. The other teams yet to score, and I must have a word with SS7 about changing his graphics to replace Alfa Romeo with Sauber. We'll get there eventually, folks. We will, I promise. So where are we going to be? Well, you've heard me say it a number of times. We are going to be in Bahrain, not China. So we were planning to be in China for this next round, but a bug in the game at one of the straights. Is a pretty neat clip, actually. I should have grabbed that before we started today's stream. that there is this awful bump. I think actually it's on the main back straight, that 1 kilometre straight in China. There's a massive bump, throws cars right over to the right-hand side of the track. So that would obviously be unfair for our drivers. We've gone to a much more reliable track, the Sakir circuit in Bahrain for round 2. Hopefully we'll return to China because it has given us some excellent racing in the past. But this week we are going to be in Bahrain, and that was the scene of the Commentators' Cup just a few weeks ago. If you missed that one, go watch the replay. It was a lot of fun. The drivers of G-Force Racing got to race against me. I started on pole. Everyone else was behind me in reverse order based on their finishing positions in Season 4, and we had to see who would win and more importantly, where I would finish. Well, in the end, Marcelinki was victorious. I managed to hang on for 5th, which I was quite pleased about, but it's having a bit of a head start on everyone else is not an unreasonable advantage, I guess. So we are going to get underway very, very shortly, just waiting for any remaining drivers to come in. I think we're going to have a pretty decent sized grid here today. Last week was very low on numbers, and if you are interested in taking part in the G-Force Racing League, there are a handful of seats, I believe, still left for Season 5, and certainly space for reserve drivers if you can't make every single Wednesday over the next few weeks. So head over to the Discord server. There's a link on my Twitch and YouTube channels. Head over there. One of the team will get you signed up, and you could be out there racing on a Wednesday evening. We always go live 8 p.m. UK time on a Wednesday through a season. Or indeed, if you're interested, we have an Ironman competition. The Ironman League races every other Sunday. Again, 8 p.m. UK time. It's a 100% race on a Sunday, and we get one-shot qualifying. So it's very little practice either, because we only get told about the track half an hour beforehand. So come and join us for that. We've just had the one at the weekend, which was also a lot of fun to take part in. So again, replay is available on my YouTube channel if you would like to look back at that one. We were in Baku, David T's nemesis track. Unfortunately, David couldn't make it. I think he was fast asleep, and probably the right place to be. But I did survive, finished in 7th. You can come and race against me on a Sunday, as well as the superb drivers from G-Force Racing. After we're done here today in Bahrain, next week we are going to be off to Abu Dhabi, usually the scene of the finale, both for G-Force Racing and, of course, F1 racing in the real world. So that's where we will be going after today's race. But right now, we're going to be heading out to Bahrain. Looks like we've readied up, so I'll get my words out today, folks. I will see you at the Sakir circuit in a few moments right after this. Don't go anywhere, folks. On the inside of Cox, SS7 goes with them. It's wheel to wheel as we head down towards Vale. 3 cars wide coming down the strip. All right, folks, let's go racing. And there you go, folks, the end of that little video intro there. You could see the links there for the Wednesday and Sunday races here on G-Force Racing. All right, we are here at the Sakir circuit in Bahrain. The sun just starting to go down in the desert. So we're waiting for our drivers to get out on track. Let's bring up today's audio from the circuit itself. I do quite like this track from a racing perspective. It's given us some really good racing over our time here with G-Force Racing. And I've got to Spiral X, one of the newer drivers to G-Force Racing. I can see someone's in my commentators VC on Discord. We might go and say hello to them just while drivers are coming out. I wonder if that's Monty who's changed his name in Discord. Let me head into the VC and we will... Oh no, they've just disappeared. Okay. Whoever that was, you're welcome to come back and say hi. Okay, so we're with Spiralex. They're warming up their tyres for their first flying lap. We're going to stay with Spiralex. I was impressed with Spiralex's speed last time out. Someone keeps popping in and out of my commentators VC. Let's go and say hello and see who it is. Hello, who's there? No one is going to be talking to me, so we'll come out of there just so we don't get any expected information on the stream. Okay, so Spiralex just warming up, last few corners here. We are going to go for a blast around the secure circuit. This long straight ploughing down into turn one. There's going to be heavy braking here around about the 100-metre board. And we've got to swing this McLaren round to the right. Back on the power. This turn two is an absolute nightmare. You want to get on the power, but the back end wants to step out. Spiralex has done a pretty good job around there. Up towards turn four, through that first DRS zone. Hey, Obo. Ah, Monty, is that you? I'll come and say hello in just a second. We're on board with Spiralex at the moment. Go well, Obo. Have a good racer. See if you can improve on that P2. Maybe first victory for you here today in Bahrain. Spiralex may well have some designs on victory here in Bahrain. Also, into one of the most trickiest corners on the F1 calendar. Turn 10 here in Bahrain. We're back on the power. Second DRS zone here. Then into turn 11, we'll see the odd overtake attempt into turn 11, which gets a little bit dicey as the cars head out towards the curb on the outside. Then round turn 30. Oh, of course, Obo, you're not racing today. I forgot about that. I should have listened to Matt's notes. I've only recorded them a few moments ago. Well, it's good to have you on the stream, that is for sure. Final corners here for Spiralex. Through 14, then 15, which is really one corner. Into our last DRS zone. Spiralex gets a 129.101. Mr. Hannes has set the early pace with a 128.137, followed by SS7 with a 128.529. Hommel here, sadly, is pointing in the barriers. That's not where they want to be. E36 Goat, Spiralex's teammate here. We may get a chance to go and say hello to the McLaren drivers in the McLaren garage a little bit later on. Been impressed with how E36 Goat has been getting better race on race. They had some good pace last week in Japan also. Just McLarens didn't really come together that day. Marcelinki goes fastest, 127.653. Where is E36 Goat going to be? 129.766. So Marcelinki really going great guns here. Emelecki is also coming through. Marcelinki's teammate. Finished P4 in Season 2 here. And Emil gets a 128.269. Certainly in touch for Emil and doing a very good team job. P1 and 3 for Red Bull right now. Hommel is back underway, but obviously had that moment in the barrier. M. Dorling, who kindly puts together our notes for us every week, is just setting up. I see that Monty's asking for an invite. Monty, I don't know that on this one I actually have your EAID. I will have a very quick look, see if I can get you in to the game. Come and join me. Have a look. I'm afraid, Monty, you're not on my list. So maybe SS7 can get you into the game, and then you'll be able to get the full picture. So M. Dorling is warming up those soft tyres here. I think everyone has probably gone out on soft. No, Emil got that 128 on mediums. So very good, very strong lap from Emil. Everyone else out on soft tyres, other than Hommel, who's going again to try and get a decent lap in. But Emil may well have some very strong pace here. We are going to get a lap with M. Dorling as they get ready to go. Bit of a tough race for M. Dorling in Japan. Picked up damage literally on the first lap. Had to pit in, put some hard tyres on at the end of lap 1. Then really went as far as they could until the safety car came out and really helped them out and finished in 5th. So not too bad. Damage limited at least. All right, lap of the Sakhir circuit with M. Dorling here as we come down the start-finish straight, blasting past all the pit garages into turn 1. Trying to steer clear of that large curb on the inside of turn 1. Runs out wide over the edge of turn 3. Up the hill. A slight slope here. Into turn 4. There's a dip as we come through the exit of turn 4. Then we're going to try and carry as much speed as we can through these S curves. Cannot get too aggressive on these curbs, as it will look to throw the car out, particularly if you're running very stiff suspension, which I dare say M. Dorling will be here. Then down through 9 into this tricky turn 10. Tight line from M. Dorling. Desperate to get back on the power. A bit of wheel spin as they attempt to do so. Opening the DRS, heading down towards turn 11. Try and sweep through and carry as much speed as possible. Run out towards the curbs on the outside of 11. Then through 12. Then up to 13. Again, we're looking to carry as much speed onto the next straight as we can. M. Dorling has got their target set on that 127.653 set by Marcelinki early on in the qualifying session here. Through turns 14 and now 15. Past the pit entry, DRS open one last time. Nice lap from M. Dorling, a 128.049 puts them provisional P2. Nice start from the Aston of M. Dorling, who is, as we've just been reminded, without their regular teammate of Obo. Hommel is standing in for Obo this week and has got a 129.684 on those medium tyres. Mr. Hannes driving for Ferrari. We welcome Mr. Hannes back. We haven't seen much of them this season, or indeed in recent weeks at all, but it's very good to have them with us. They did compete in the Ironman at the weekend. Sadly, did not complete that race. But they are with us this week here in Bahrain. Mr. Hannes trying to beat that 128.137. Let me bring up the telemetry, the lap data in the top right corner and the map so we don't forget that. And we'll all be able to see how Mr. Hannes is doing here. Keep an eye on that sector time in the top right corner as Hannes gets back on the power. It's pretty much level with their opening qualifying lap. Monty, you're out there racing. Good, focus on that, but he's forgotten his setup. Monty, that's an easy mistake to make. I've done it myself. Mr. Hannes into turn 10. And too wide from Mr. Hannes. They will have to go again. That one's not going to work out. Let's get to someone we haven't been with. We go, well, Monty is out there without a proper setup on, or not the one that they wanted. They're on an outlap. Emerge KDs. Watch for Emerge to go well here today. Did pretty well in the Commentators' Cup, I seem to remember. I cannot quite recall exactly where they finished, but I think it was in front of me. So Emerge looking to get a time on the board. Monty, Emerge, M1 Righty and Jakob yet to set any time. Jakob is sitting in the pits. They were complaining about a lack of practice here around Bahrain, so we'll see how Jakob goes earlier. Could they be sandbagging, or are they genuinely concerned about their pace here? Indeed, Obo, very good start from your teammate there, M. Dorling. P2. We'll see if they can hang on to that. These lap times are going to come down. Indeed they do. Welcome back, M1 Righty, 127.220. M1 Righty takes provisional P1. Emerge is going to come over the line now to set a time of 127.926, puts them provisional P3. So good lap from Emerge. We've got just under 7 minutes of qualifying left to go. This isn't like the real world, folks. We just have the one qualifying session, 18 minutes. Our drivers can go as many times as they like in those 18 minutes to get their fastest time. They'll have a selection of tyres to choose from, but anything they choose during qualifying is going to have an impact. SS7 is just starting their lap. We welcome back SS7 after recovering from their recent illness. M. Dorling, I think, has left the session, so perhaps they are very happy with that, or they'll be back in just a moment. Hopefully that's just a connectivity issue, and they will be back in. SS7 here. Yes, thank you, Obo. Good point. So Ghosty's got a 128.068 right now. Watch for Goat to be a potential champion here. We know Goat likes this track, and they will be quick. SS7 looking to improve. That 128.529 coming through Sector 2. Really throwing that Merc around right now as they go through turn 8. Into turn 10, going to be in the turbulent air of the car in front. Is that a certain Jakub Plotska in front? It is indeed. So giving their teammate a tow down the back straight. The Mercedes team working together there. Where is SS7 coming through Sector 2? Are they up? They are. 3/10. So it's going well. Can SS7 gather any more time in this final sector? Remember, M1 Righty leads the way. P1 with a 127.220. SS7 has really got to go some here. Get anywhere near to that time. Does improve by 2.5 tenths. Sees them in P8 right now, but they're a long way off, a whole second off pole position at the moment. Goat is going again. They are slightly up actually, so have held on to some grip in these tyres. Is Goat going in? Yeah, Goat's going in, so they will go one more time. Mr. Hannes is back in the pits. We saw them having a moment. Right, Hommel is out on a brand new set of soft tyres. They are coming through Sector 2 now. See if they are improving or not as they come round the latter stages here through turns 11 and 12. Up towards turn 13. Very aggressive turning from the Aston Martin there. Hommel trying to improve on that 129.684. Set on medium tyres, remember, folks, earlier on. Hommel comes round the final corner. And Hommel crosses the line, improves by nearly 6/10, puts them in provisional P10. Right, we've got to go to our Season 4 and reigning champion, Jakub Plotska, driving for Mercedes once again. A very strong team here as Jakub heads towards the pits. So that lap was not working out for Jakub. They will have to go again. So a number of our drivers heading on in here. Welcome back, Big Tonk. All right, you snuck in there, Big Tonk. I did not realise you would be racing with us today, but it's very good to have you back. Looks as though we've had a few drivers with connectivity issues leaving and rejoining. So we'll do a lap with Big Tonk to see if they can improve on that 129.541. I do, as Obo was suggesting in the Twitch chat, want to keep an eye on Goat Ghosty. They are just around, they're on their out lap right now. We will get with them, see if they can improve on that 128.068. I'm going to have to get used to Goat Ghosty driving for RB as well, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge. Last week it was the AI driving Goat Ghosty's car around the Suzuka circuit. Hopefully this week it is Goat Ghosty in full control. So Big Tonk trying to improve on a 129.541. As we come down the slope into turn 8. Back end of the Ferrari complaining as they come through the exit of turn 8 now through 9. Down into 10. Our driver's really navigating turn 10 quite nicely, I'd say, at the moment. Big Tonk into the second DRS zone. Won't see too many overtaking attempts here. The DRS really helps our cars to stay in touch. As the back end of the Ferrari steps out one more time. That will not help Big Tonk's qualifying time here. Indeed, they are just over a tenth back. So that Ferrari not quite to Big Tonk's liking. Up to Goat Ghosty here. Let's watch these times come through for Goat as they come through Sector 1 into Turn 4. Goat, a potential GFR champion. 1.5 tenths up. Oh, and Goat is really struggling with that RB. So that has not worked out. Will they conserve their tyres and go one more time? They've got 1 minute and 20 seconds to get round. It all depends how much fuel they've put in that RB. But if they've got enough to get over the line and round one more lap, they should be okay indeed. Goat is just resetting, I think, their car to go one more time here. But the rear end of that RB very much complaining. In the early part of the lap, Goat will have to go again. Obo is predicting 126s for Goat, but they won't get those times with that kind of reaction from their car. Jaguar Report also out on their out lap. We've got a few. Everyone is out there. This is going to get very, very busy in the final stages of qualifying with just 30 seconds left to go. Our drivers need to get over that start-finish line before that clock runs out for their next lap to count. Go over to the less bumpy side of the track, right by the pit wall there, as we're with Jaguar Paw at the moment. We could ride on board with Jaguar Paw as we monitor both Goat Ghosty and Jaguar Paw around this lap. Monty is on the lap as well, 131.342 so far for them. As Jaguar Paw looks to try and stick with Goat Ghosty here. Not a bad marker to follow, that is for sure. We'll quickly jump up into the cockpit of Goat Ghosty as they come round through turn 9 and down the slope into turn 10. Will we see the qualifying times tumbling as a car out of the way on the left-hand side? We thank that McLaren. Goat Ghosty into turn 11. Accelerating hard up the hill. Through the sweeping turn 12. Accelerating all the way. 4 tenths up for Goat Ghosty. Oh, and that back end has gone again. So down to Jaguar Paul here, trying to improve on a 128. They are 2.5 tenths up. So I don't think Goat is going to improve on that 128. M1 Righty holding on to P1. They have finished qualifying. And Mielecki with a 127.406 tells P2. In front of their teammate Marcelinki. 128.228 for Jaguar Paul puts them in 9th. SS7 comes over for 127.914. Very good final lap from SS7 puts them into P6. Let's get down to Monty, who is facing the wrong way. Sorry, Monty. Yeah, that didn't go well at the end. That back end of your car was not playing ball at all. So Monty is giving the crowd a show here. But our pole position goes to M1 Righty on their first race in Season 5. And it's going to be everything to play for with both Red Bulls in P2 and P3. Very good lap from Mielecki there, 127.3335. And Season 4 champion Jakob in 4th, a 127.672. Emerge eventually finishing P5. And we're just waiting for Monty to finish their show, and we'll be able to get our show on the road here in Bahrain. Alekal, thank you for following. Very much appreciated. Good to have you here. Alekal, you have to let me know what your driver ID is, just so I can join your Twitch ID up. But it's very good to have you here, and thank you ever so much for following. Goats saving their softs for the race. Yeah, that could be a good strategy. And we saw that go in the Commentators' Cup. Your pace is good here, even in the wet. So I haven't seen a forecast, actually, for the race. We are in the desert, so who knows what we're going to get. M1 Righty is on pole. Mielecki in 2nd. Marcelinki in 3rd. Jakob in 4th. Emerge in 5th. SS7 in 6th. Goat Ghosty currently in 7th. M. Dorling in 8th. Mr. Han is 9th. Jacob Report 10th. Spiralex 11th. And Hommel there in 12th before that timing screen disappears in front of our eyes. Hey, Emerge. Okay, thank you so much. It's much easier to call you Emerge than that. So, very good to have you on the stream. as well as out there racing. Go well today, all of our drivers here for G-Force Racing. I am very much looking forward to this one with a very, very full grid of drivers. 15 of them indeed out there. So we have no formation lap here, folks, for the G-Force Racing. So when you see our drivers lined up on the grid, we are going racing straight away. Yeah, Obo, I agree with you. I think this is going to be an absolute cracker. Could be one for the ages, actually, this one here in Season 5. And the quality of racing in recent races throughout Season 4 and even last week in Japan is very strong. And if you think you can take on these folks, please do come over to the Discord server, sign up and take one of those last remaining seats. It would be great to have full grids every week. But I tell you what, these 15 drivers will give us quite some spectacle. We do, of course, have the challenge of turn 1 on the start here. And we're going to get it right now. Lights are coming on. All right, folks, let's go racing for round 2, Season 5 of the G-Force Racing Elite League. M1 Righty has led us away, but they are under all sorts of pressure from Emeleki, who goes down the inside of the Alpine and takes the lead on lap 1. All of our cars struggling to get through turn 1, but it looks as though everyone has come out unscathed so far. No spinners in the background, I am pleased to say, as they plough down into turn 4. Emil leads us away. M1 Righty in second. Marcelinki in third. Emerge KD is up one place already into fourth. Jakob dropping down into fifth, just in front of their teammate SS7. There's a very wide Ghosty there, who definitely has been disadvantaged in the early stages of this start, right down there in 10th at the moment. So many cars trying to get through turn 1. Significant congestion, and that's Goat going very wide on the exit of turn 10 as well. So Goat seemingly going backwards under a lot of pressure from M Doring, actually down in 11th now, and Hommel in 12th. So it's not working out for our championship protagonists at the early stages of this Bahrain Grand Prix. We're on lap 1 of 29, folks. This will be over very, very quickly. And we will see, I think, a lot of cars staying very close to each other. Let me bring up the tyres to see what our drivers decided to do. Well, there's a first, folks. Emeleki starting on softs. And no wonder they have led us away from M1 Righty. Emil, you've proved me wrong. Emil usually starts on hards every single time, but not on this occasion, as the RB of Emerge KDs looks for an opportunity through on M1 Righty. M1 has started on those hard tyres, so Emerge on those grippier mediums, trying to take advantage as early as they can in the race, trying to go round the outside of M1, and they've done it, made that one work. Emerge up into third. This will be a little bit painful for M1 Righty in the early stages of this race while they try and switch on those hard tyres. But this race will come to M1 as the race pans out. Jakob now trying to find a way through on M1 Righty. Obo thinks that starting on softs at Bahrain is a death sentence. We shall see, unless Emil was hoping for a safety car in the early stages. Well, certainly they've got track position right now. Jakob looks for a way through on M1 Righty. Two GFR champions fighting out wheel for wheel here. M1 Righty, remember, won Season 2 and Season 3. And Jakob has just won Season 4. Jakob there on soft tyres as well. Their teammate SS7 on medium, so a split strategy for the Mercedes team. And Jakob needs to get through on M1 Righty as soon as they can. Let's ride on board with Jakob and see if they can do that. They'll now have the benefit of DRS as they easily come past M1 Righty, moving up into fourth place. M1 slots back in behind the Mercedes there as we get plumes of tyre smoke breaking into turn 1. Emil has really raced off into the distance, nearly 2 seconds clear now of Emerge KD. So very strong start from Emeleki. Marcelinki dropping back behind Emerge. So Emerge now up into second. Emerge has got some very good race pace in these early stages. Jakob now looking to get on the rear end of Marcelinki as soon as they can. Battle resumed from the early stages of Japan last week between the Red Bull and the Mercedes drivers. Hummel has moved up to 7th, so not a bad race so far for Hummel. Two McLarens racing side by side. We do have a yellow flag, and that is Monty at the rear of the field. Sorry, Monty, but you are... Oh, and that's a missing front wing for the Williams. So Monty recovering. So Big Tonk in 14th. Then comes Jaguar in 13th, right behind Mr. Hannes. Here also started on soft tyres. I'm a little bit surprised, folks, by the number of soft tyre runners. The forecast, by the way, is completely dry throughout the race. So, interesting tyre choice from a number of our drivers. They perhaps know something I don't, as we get our first virtual safety car. And that is due to Monty, sadly, who is parked on the exit of turn 11. So we have a VSC. As DRS is now enabled on lap 3, but they won't be able to, well, they are using, we're back under racing immediately, a very short VSC. So Marcelinki passes Emerge KDs, gets back up into the lead of this race. M. Dorling on those hard tyres, one of the few hard tyre runners in the early stages, is now looking to get back into this race, and there's a good battle here at the front, folks. I need to get back up here. Between Emerge KDs and Marcelinki, trading places, second and third here, between the RB and the Red Bull. And that's bringing Jakob into play, followed by SS7. M1 righties there on those hards. And they're now a second clear of Hummel in 7th, outside the range of DRS. Good spot, Obo. So Emil absolutely nailed the deltas in that VSC. Has gained 4 seconds, or an extra 2 seconds indeed, on Emerge. So Emil really reading this race very, very effectively. Has opened a huge gap in the grand scheme of things here, and is stretching out their lead every single corner at the moment. Eventually those softs will go off. We've only had 3 laps on them so far. We'll see how well they hang on. But there is Emeleki, and there comes the train of Emerge KDs, Marcelinki, Jakob, SS7 and M1 righty. Hummel, it's looking as though they're struggling to get into the DRS because they are coming under all sorts of pressure from another group. So Hummel leading E36 Goat, Spiralex, Goat Ghosty, M. Dorling, Mr. Hannes, and we're going to have 3 wide into turn 1 here. It's looking very close. That's a little bit wide from Goat. That's allowed Spiralex through into 8th. And that's allowing actually Hummel to get off into the distance in the Aston Martin. M. Dorling trying to find a way through now. So perhaps these hard tyres starting to come as these drivers fight for position. Goat is struggling to find a way through in this gaggle of cars here. So we've got kind of 2 trains. 2 groups of cars here from 1st to 6th, and then Hummel pretty much on their own before Spiralex leads M. Dorling, Mr. Hannes, E36 Goat, Goat Ghosty, Jaguar Paul and Big Tonk. So kind of 2 races for 1 we've got going on. This is all going to switch around as we head towards the pit stops, which for the soft tyre runners may be quite soon in this race. Certainly our hard tyre runners will be hoping for no safety cars in the early stages. That will allow the race to come to them. As the Ferrari, Mr. Hannes, looks down the inside of M. Dorling. Looks as though Mr. Hannes has got that one done, as Spiralex goes very wide on the exit of 13. So Spiralex will now have a red Ferrari in their rearview mirror as they come out onto the start-finish straight. Spiralex with no DRS will probably have no defence against Mr. Hannes and M. Dorling. Will M. Dorling take this opportunity to follow Mr. Hannes through? Spiralex probably burning quite a bit of battery here, but M. Dorling is through, using the slipstream of Mr. Hannes to come through. And this is looking good for our hard runners at the moment. M1 righty and M. Dorling. Ghosty has gone in for a pit and onto those hards already. So there's some good battles going on here, but got to hand it to Emil. I did not see this happening at all, but Emil has really blasted off into the distance. Now 5.5 seconds clear as we've got M1 righty fighting with Marcelinki, and that's like Marcelinki tapped the rear end of Emerge KDs into turn 10. And that has allowed M1 Righty to come through, as well as SS7 and Jakob. So that's very unfortunate for Emerge KDs. That drops them down into 6th place and right into the clutches of Hommel here in 7th. That's allowed Hommel to grab some DRS. So Hommel will be very grateful for that. But I imagine Emerge KDs is spitting feathers. Looks as though Marcelinki is dropping back. So maybe that's recognition. Maybe I was unfair. Maybe I called that on. Oh, and that's Hommel's hit the rear end of Marcelinki now. So I think with all best intentions, Marcelinki has let Emerge KDs through. And my apologies to M1 Righty if I called that incorrectly. So it looks as though Marcelinki attempted to let Emerge KDs through, and Hommel misjudged their braking as a result and hit the rear end of Marcel. So that's unfortunate for everyone involved. It has allowed Emerge KDs to get back up into 5th. Marcelinki has recovered from that tap from Hommel. Our drivers, I think, doing their best to try and sort this out on track. So my thanks to them, if nothing else, because it's always a little bit difficult, but I appreciate the intent from our drivers here. Cracking battle here between Mr. Hannes, M. Dorling and Spiralex, it would seem. E36 Goat dropping off the back here. It's difficult to know where to look next, folks, to be perfectly honest. There's battles going on all over the place. Watch out for Goat Ghosty. They've got some clean air, plenty of track. They can just get their head down and focus on racing without squabbling with the other cars, and that may actually work out to be a very, very good strategy as this race unfolds. Mr. Hannes is under pressure from M. Dorling, and M. Dorling goes around the outside into turn 11. Great move from M. Dorling. Puts the Aston Martin into 8th place. Let's watch that gap between Hommel and M. Dorling to see if M. Dorling can get into the DRS of their teammate in front. And this, Obo, I don't know if you're sending instructions to the Aston Martin team, but if Hommel could just back off a little bit, they can help bring M. Dorling back into play. Up towards the front here, and we've got a battle going between M1 Righty coming back into this now on those hard tyres. And these softs, I think, are off. You're absolutely right, Obo. You and I spotting that at the same time. Softs are dead. And we'll see some of these soft runners perhaps going backwards. It's not happening for Emil just yet. And I'm going to keep an eye on the timing screens. Here, best lap so far is a 131.327, set by Emeleki early on in the race here. Last lap for Emil was a 132.467. Everyone's lapping pretty evenly at the moment, regardless of tyre compound. So we'll see if those softs really do start to disappear. Jakob has got their teammate of SS7. We'll see if the Mercedes team start to work together here, because SS7 will have, I expect, much more pace on those medium runners, and they can't afford to lose the rear end of M1 Righty. You're absolutely right, Obo. This battle for second place is allowing Emil just to stay well clear of everyone behind them. And that gap not really coming down enormously at this point. Only by a 10th or so at the moment. But it is starting to close up. And indeed, M1, I think, is really starting to put the hammer down a little bit here. Will Jakob fight against their teammate of SS7? Or will they play the team game and allow SS7 through on those what will be grippier medium tyres here in Bahrain? I do seem to remember the mediums were not too bad for large parts of the race, but they also fall off a cliff pretty quickly as well. Emerge is doing their best to get back onto the rear end of SS7 after that earlier collision by either a Red Bull or an RB. I'm not entirely sure which one it was, or maybe an Alpine. We'll watch the replay back later, folks, but my apologies if I indicated it was a driver that it was not. One of you may let me know. But SS7 is still with their teammate, and Emerge is not really able to get into the range of DRS. Big Tonk is into the pits and onto brand new medium tyres. So looking like a two-stop strategy for Big Tonk. Unless they think they can take those mediums 20 laps, they probably can, but they won't have a huge amount of pace come the end of this race. But a safety car will allow them back into this pretty quickly. Yeah, 5 seconds the gap between M1 Righty and Emeleki. We'll see if that starts to come down. That last lap was M1 Righty's best lap, a 131.885 on those hard tyres. So the hards are now the tyre to be on. Marcelinki onto the rear end of Hommel here. Hommel on those relatively old soft tyres is unlikely to be able to defend particularly significantly against Marcelinki. As Marcel comes onto the start-finish straight, as the Aston Martin of Hommel trying to break the slipstream here. And Marcel is through on the Aston Martin. Into turn 1. Heavy braking once again. The Aston Martin doing their best to slow down. 3-second time penalty for Goat Ghosty. Not going their way at the moment. But they are in the range of Big Tonk now, who has obviously pitted a number of drivers switching on to new tyres. Goat Ghosty on hards, Big Tonk on mediums, E36 Goat on hard, Spiralex on brand new softs. Interesting strategy from Spiralex. Mr. Hannes has switched on to new mediums. Emerge has just gone in and on to soft tyres. So there's a number of drivers, I think, going on for a two-strop strategy here in Bahrain, which is quite unusual to see. But you can gain so much time from an undercut that maybe that is the best strategy to perform. We'll watch the gap between Jaguar Paw and Emerge KDs with interest. 12 seconds at the moment. SS7 is hanging with their teammate of Jakob, but now the DRS broken. Two M1 righties stretching out their lead and closing the gap to Emil. 4 seconds now. That gap down by a second or so in the last lap alone. So Obo thinks the mediums are okay for 20 laps, and that's possibly what Big Tonk is considering as Jakob goes in. SS7 now assumes second place on track. Obviously M1 and SS7 yet to pit. SS7 may well take these mediums to 20 or so laps and then go on to softs. We know M1 is going to go on to softs at the end of this race. That is for absolute certainty. Marcel now in third, also yet to pit, as has M. Dorling. So don't count M. Dorling out of a podium finish at this point. I think victory here may be a big ask, but a safety car towards the latter stages will see them come into play for sure. M. Dorling trying to get within the range of DRS of Marcel in front of them. Then comes a Jaguar Paw, 7 and a bit seconds back from M. Dorling. Still yet to pit, so our front 5 drivers yet to come in for their mandatory pit stop. Everyone else has been in at least once. Emil there, who was leading the race, 2.4 seconds back. Emil may well take these mediums, as we were suggesting, all the way to the end. This is looking like a very strong drive from Emeleki. Jakob onto hards, having got off of those softs. They obviously don't trust the mediums quite as well, and they've got Emerge KDs on brand new soft tyres, putting our Season 4 champion under all manner of pressure here. Emerge has got to get past Jakob, and Jakob will be hoping to hang on with the DRS of Emerge if they do. SS7 is into the pits. So SS7 getting off of those medium tyres. This is too early for softs, surely, for SS7 indeed. Hard tyres for Jakob's teammate. Emerge now as we come onto the start-finish straight. We'll open up the DRS now. Jakob moves over to the right-hand side of the circuit. Emerge blasts past the Mercedes driver up into 4th place on track. And will now be looking to get after Emil in front of them. You're absolutely right, Obo. M1 is going to be lightning at the end of this. And certainly if their qualifying time is anything to go by as well. So on lap 12 of 29, we get a yellow flag, sector 1. Who is that? Is that Jaguar Paw? That did look like it was Jaguar Paw there, recovering from a spin. So Jaguar Paw back up and running again. That yellow flag now cleared. They are back up and running. So let's get down to Jakob and SS7 already on the rear end of their teammate. This is nice teamwork from the Mercedes team. And if nothing else, will give them strong points here in Season 5. They will now hope to hang on to the rear end of Emerge KDs, while Emerge is particularly fast on those grippy soft tyres. We saw earlier that those softs really only go about 8 or 9 laps before. Oh, Obo, thank you. It was Goat that spanned. So I saw that blue dot and I thought that was a Williams, but it was indeed Goat. So Goat having a tough time here. We saw them having a tough time in qualifying as well. Pushing very, very hard, though, after a tough start in the midfield. So the Mercedes driver's doing a good job to hang on to the rear end of the RB. If I get down to Marcelinki, they have a fast-charging Spiralex on their rear end. The McLaren on some soft tyres here, 4 laps in. Hassling Marcelinki on new hards, trying to find a way past. Got to make hay though whilst they have that grip in those soft tyres, because they are going to be gone in no time at all as Spiralex gets very aggressive over the curbs coming through the S's. That drops them back, and unfortunately for them, we'll have to do that hard work all again. Perhaps the dirty air of Marcelinki causing havoc for the downforce on the McLaren. Hummel is there in 10th, just under 2 seconds back from that battle between Spiralex and Marcelinki. Then comes E36 Go, Big Tonk in 12th, then Jaguar Paw in 13th, and Goat Ghosty now in 14th with what looks like a pretty tough race for them. So M1 Righty leads the way. Our 2 remaining hard runners. So we've got another yellow flag. Is that Goat one more time? Indeed it is. So Goat looking like they've picked up some damage on that front wing as well, as Emil sets the fastest lap at 1:30.947. What a cracking race from Emil so far. Yeah, damage to the front right wing of the RB there for Goat Ghosty. So M1 Righty leads the way, 10 seconds clear of M Dorling. We'll watch for when M1 Righty decides to pit, but it's not going to be for a few laps yet. I reckon 2 or 3 more laps before they get off of those hards and onto some soft tyres to take them to the end. M Dorling lapping, I'm just looking at the times, roughly the same as M1 Righty, so equally paced. 10-second penalty for Goat Ghosty for speeding in the pit lane, and Goat has sadly DNF'd in the pit lane, so Goat leaving us here in Bahrain. So M Dorling managing to keep that gap to M1 Righty around 10 seconds. They would certainly love a safety car right now, be in and out of those pits, and will be out in the lead of this race. But Emil is starting to close in on the Alpine and the Aston Martin. 4.7 seconds back. Their last lap was a full 1.5 seconds quicker than our 2 front runners. So Emil has got some pace here, as they've shown through the first half of this race. And we are at the halfway stage, folks. Lap 15 of 29. I said this was going to go quick. So Emilecki trying to close down that gap. And M1 Righty and M Dorling will have a critical decision to make as to when they pit. SS7 looks as though they've swapped places with their teammate of Jakob, and they've got through on Emerge KDs. So Emerge either has had a moment, or those soft tyres already struggling on the RB. Goat's telling us that mediums won't make 20 laps. So so we've got some mixed opinions here. We will see. Emil is going well on theirs currently, but they've got a long way still to go. Another 15 laps on those medium tyres. M1 Righty is going to be lightning. So is M Dorling when they come in, but almost certainly will be onto soft tyres. Really depends, I think, drivers' preference at this stage, what they know is going to work. So we'll see. It's suggesting that Emil's bottled the win. We shall see. They're certainly making progress at the moment. They've certainly had some good pace, and it's interesting to see them pick a very different strategy to one that they would normally have picked. So Emerge is now hanging on to the Mercedes rather than the other way around, but it may not be too much longer before we see them come through. Jaguar Paw has just got through on E36 Goat, so Jaguar Paw up into 12th, and E36 dropping down there into 13th. Big Tonk is dragging these 2 drivers along. Spiralex in the last points paying position at the moment on some 6-lap old soft tyres on the rear end here of Hummel. Has DRS. Very close. Taps the rear end of the Aston Martin, but decides not to pass. Drops back in. And I think they're just using the benefit of DRS to stay in touch with Hummel, see how much further they can go. So the main battle for points here is between SS7 Jakob and Emerged KDs on lap 16. But the hard runners, M1 Wright is actually starting to pull out a bit of a gap on on M Dorling. 11.5 seconds now, and Emil is very close to M Dorling now. So M Dorling's got a decision. Do they stick with their strategy, take those hards as long as they can, or do they head into the pits and get onto some new tyres sooner rather than later? I'm pretty sure Obo is probably talking to M Dorling right now around what that strategy should probably be. Mr. Hannes is the first driver, lap 17 to pick up a 3-second time penalty for track limits, although I do believe Goat picked one up earlier on, to be honest. But in all fairness, that's very few penalties for our drivers here. That's Emil stepping out the rear end of that Red Bull coming out the exit of turn 1, a bit too hungry on the power, and Mr. Hannes gets 10 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. So it's going Mr. Hannes has had enough. So Mr. Hannes DNF'd in the pit lane. We say goodbye to Mr. Hannes in the Ferrari this week. So that's 3 drivers we've lost. Mr. Hannes, Goat Ghosty and Monty from this race. M1 Righty now 12 seconds clear of M Dorling. But we see Emil pushing hard to get onto the rear end of M Dorling here, nearly within the range of DRS. A puff of smoke from the left-hand front tyre of the Red Bull as they break into turn 10. Jakob and SS7 swapping places. Emerged KDs has pitted. They've had enough of those soft tyres. Indeed, everyone has offered those soft tyres at this stage in the race. An aggressive strategy from some to get onto those soft tyres in the mid-point of this race. But Emerge onto some brand new mediums has given up their fight with SS7 and Jakob. And SS7 going well, and the Mercedes drivers working together as they try to close down Emelecki, who is going to assume the lead of this race. M1 Righty is into the pits, and M1 is on to mediums. Go, Obo, what do you think? Right strategy, mediums at this stage rather than softs? You let me know. You will know better than I, that is for sure. M1 comes out, and you see M1 is going to be coming out behind the Mercedes drivers here. So we were with the right group of cars down the start-finish straight. So M1 on brand new medium tyres will take those easily to the end of this race, but M1 preferring those over softs. So they will have to get past SS7 and Jakob, and I don't see the Mercedes drivers being particularly accommodating to M1 Righty here. We'll see, but they will have so much more grip in the Alpine. We see that already with M1 immediately onto the rear end of Jakob. Do they make a move for it into turn 10? That's a brave move if you do there. So M1 back on the power, DRS open. Thank you, Goat. So softs possibly the better tyre, but it's really whether or not M1 had a set to use. But M1 is going the long way round Jakob and through. Oh, not quite, is it? No, they are through on Jakob. So M1 is through on Jakob. Now it's SS7 that the Alpine is looking to dispatch and close down on Emil. Emil now takes the lead as M Dorling heads into the pits, I think. M Dorling's headed into the pits. No, Emil has actually passed M Dorling on track. So, and M1 is passing SS7 on track. So can the Mercedes stay with M1 Righty here? M Dorling is now praying for a safety car, I dare say. But they're going to have M1 Righty chasing after them anytime soon. Now it is a race for the lead. Emil in P1. M Dorling has got to be going in the very near future. M1 Righty will go into second. Watch that gap come down. It's about 7 seconds at the moment between M1 Righty and Emeleki. We'll keep an eye on the timing screens as well, folks, to see how this one plays out. We'll have a look at the winners and losers. So Emil up 1 after a very excellent start to this race. M. Dorling up 6, but remember M. Dorling has got to pit. M1 Righty there, having lost 2 places, but will be gaining at least one of those back when M. Dorling pits. SS7 up 2, not a bad race for them. Jakob down 1, Marcel down 3. I thought they would be going better after having won the Commentators' Cup here by quite some margin. Then Emerge KDs has had a bit of a tough race so far, but this race may come back to them on brand new medium tyres. Jaguar up 1, E36 Co up 3, Spiralex where they began, and Big Tonk up 2. As we see, there's a Red Bull going into the pits. That is Emil into the pits. So, go. You could well be right. Those medium tyres, not the ones that Emil wants to take to the end. They are in. You are absolutely right, my friend. You're absolutely right. So Emil is in. They looks as though they've given up this race in favour of M1 Righty. But I've got to say, a strong drive from Emil after a bit of a struggle as they've built into this F124 game. M. Dorling out on their own at the moment, 5 seconds back from M1 Righty, but M1 Righty closing that gap down in no time at all. Last lap from M. Dorling was a 132.621. The last lap from M1 Righty at 129.829, over 2.5 seconds faster than the Aston Martin. So M1 will be on the rear of the Aston in no time at all. I think M. Dorling has got to pit sooner rather than later. They'll be giving up so many positions. They're probably praying for a safety car right now. SS7 2.5 seconds back from M1 Righty is dragging their teammate of Jakob along. It's been a good drive from SS7. Could see them back on the podium here. Marcelinki is a long way back from Jakob, nearly 8 seconds now. So Jakob hanging on to the rear end of their teammate as M. Dorling does indeed pit on lap 21 and gets on to... Going to be soft tyres surely for the Aston Martin driver. Indeed it is. M. Dorling is going to be lightning. Watch these times, folks. We're going to have fireworks at the end of this race. But M. Dorling, painfully slow for our drivers coming out of the pits as they see cars passing them by, and Emeleki is one of them. So can Emil hang on to 5th place on track? But M. Dorling is going to be past them in no time at all. This could be the one to watch. SS7 and Jakob do have to work together. You're absolutely right, Go. Can they keep that Mercedes in, those Mercedes in P2 and 3? Or even close down on M1 Righty? I can't see that happening, folks. But I can see SS7 and Jakob doing their best to hang on because they've got Marcelinki defending them from Emeleki. I don't see Marcel holding up their teammate too much. But Emeleki has got to deal with M. Dorling. Hard tyres are compared to brand new softs. This is clearly not a fair fight. But M. Dorling has got to go some in these last remaining 9 laps to get onto the podium. But this mixture of strategies has been fascinating to watch, folks. It's the first time we've really had mixed up strategies to such a significant degree. But it's meant the outcome of this race is far from decided yet. I think M1 has really got the hammer down now. 3.4 seconds clear. M1 also having holding the fastest lap of the race so far with a 129.829. Don't be surprised to see that go when M. Dorling crosses the line next time around. First lap, full lap on these brand new soft tyres. This could be an easy pass into turn 1. We've got a front row seat as we go flying past the Red Bull of Emil. And that's M. Dorling up into 5th. That's 1 place done for the Aston Martin driver. But Emil is saying, oh, thank you very much. I might have that place back as they get a dose of DRS into turn 4. So much more grip for the Aston Martin on the outside. And M. Dorling hangs on. So a fair attempt from Emeleki to try and steal back that 5th place. But realistically, no defence without those hard tyres against the soft. So M. Dorling now has to get after Marcelinki in front. 5 seconds to make up to 4th place, but then they've got to go another 8 seconds to get to the Mercedes drivers. We'll see what times M. Dorling is able to post. They're going to be needing 2 to 3 seconds a lap on those hard runners to really have a chance of getting on the podium. Purple in sector 2 for M. Dorling, so it's going well on this lap for them. They've really got to get after Marcelinki. It is dragging Emil with them, so at least Emil is hanging on for a very good point scoring position for them. Could have been a different story. Oh, we've got a yellow flag. That is a McLaren, a stricken McLaren of Spiralex. They are back up and running as they came out of turn 10. Whether that was a coming together with their teammate or Big Tonk, or they've just lost it on the exit of turn 10. They have indeed lost part of their front wing, so they are going to have to consider a pit, and they may well at this stage now that they're at the back of the field. M1 Righty leads the way on lap 23, now nearly 5 seconds clear of SS7. M1 looks nailed on for victory here, barring a safety car in Bahrain. SS7 now in second, with their teammate of Jakub Plotska in third. Be interesting to see if there are any team orders here, or priority goes to league owner or season 4 champion. We'll come back and watch that with interest. Marcelinki 8 seconds back from Jakub, but we get another yellow flag, and that sadly is Spiralex leaving us here. It's only 11 drivers out of the original 15 able to finish. Nearly everyone is going to get the point here at least, but sadly one person in 11th is going to miss out. Big Tonk might be worth going for that fastest lap or hang on for a safety car. We'll see. Still that one away. So Emil is hanging on pretty decently to M. Dorling here. So as M. Dorling goes very, very wide on the exit of turn 15. Well, Goat doesn't think there'll be team orders in Mercedes. I'm not so sure. We'll see. We'll see. I would like to see a good battle between SS7 and Jakub for sure. I know SS7 does enjoy this track. Actually won here. First ever league race here for GeForce Racing. SS7 did actually win here. 3 second penalty for E36. Go. The only penalty out there on track right now, as Hummel pits onto brand new soft tyres. They're going to go for that fastest lap. No one has taken that 129.829 yet from M1 Righty. So M1 definitely liking those mediums right now. And Emil is doing a decent job of hanging on to M. Dorling. That gap now to Marcelinki down to 3 seconds. Last lap for M. Dorling was a 131.018. And Marcelinki was did a 131 dead. Oh no, apologies, 131.794. So only 7/10 faster for M. Dorling. It needs to be quicker than that, M. Dorling, if you are going to make a dent on the podium here. Marcelinki holding on safely, it would seem, at the moment, and coming under increasing pressure from Emil. So Emil on those hard tyres coming back into play. These softs are clearly not an exciting tyre to be on after a few laps. So this strategy from Dorling doesn't seem to be working out. And Emil comes through on the Aston Martin up into 5th place. Maybe these two will work together to close down Marcelinki. Time will tell, but there won't be much time left. We're on lap 25 of 29. As the main battle out on track is exactly this one we have been with for a little while. We will get down just briefly to Big Tonk here. Sadly for them, just outside the points in 11th place. E36 Go up there in 10th, last points playing position. Hummel in front of them, out on some brand new soft tyres, looking to steal that fastest lap away from M1 Righty. Then comes Jaguar, 7 seconds back from Emerge KDs. Emerge KDs, the only last remaining RB out on track. Really not troubling anybody at the moment. Sat there in 7th, pretty much in no man's land, it would seem, for them. But then we come to that battle of M. Dorling and Emeleki. Can M. Dorling hang on now, it would seem, to Emil? They are starting to close down the gap as Big Tonk picks up 3 seconds for multiple track limits warnings. So Emil and M. Dorling are definitely closing down. 2 seconds now to Marcelinki. We are going to have a 3-way fight for 4th place. I think SS7 and Jakob are going to hold on to those podium positions, but then no one is touching M1 Righty here as they announce their presence in Season 5. Could it be a 3rd championship for M1 Righty here for G-Force Racing? Not a bad way to start your Season 5, that's for sure. 1.5 seconds now, Emil to Marcel. M. Dorling hanging with Emil in 6th place. 19 seconds back now to Jaguarpour. Jaguarpour pretty much nailed on for 7th there in the midfield. Emerge is pitting. They're going for fastest lap. No, still no one can steal that fastest lap away from M1 Righty. So Hommel is now within DRS of Emerge, although Emerge has obviously just been into the pits, so that's the reason they are there in front of Hommel. As we come through the S's on lap 26 with Emerge. So there is Jaguarpour, M1, M. Dorling, I should say, still hanging on to Emil, but really doesn't seem to be challenging. But Emil is now on the tail of their teammate Marcel in front of them. I dare say there are no team orders here, and Emil would love to take 4th place away. We will see if it's going to be a battle of the Red Bulls in the final closing stages here of round 2 of the G-Force Racing League from Bahrain. It has mercifully stayed dry. We had it very wet during the Commentators' Cup race, but that was all my fault because I got to choose the weather for that race. Hommel did set their best lap of a 1:30.127, but still not setting the fastest lap of the race so far. That is still held by M1 Righty, 1:29.829. Watch out for Emerge KDs though. I would not be surprised to see them grab that. Obviously fuel loads a lot lighter at this stage in the race. Will allow our drivers to go a touch faster. As Emil gets closer and closer to their teammate here. Round 12, then 13. And Marcel, I dare say, will have next to no defence down the start-finish straight. Nearly a full battery for Emil. Flicks that Red Bull in, quite aggressive, and actually they've got that one wrong. Emil drifts them out wide. Does that give M. Dorling an opportunity? It definitely does. Emil dumps their battery here with the benefit of DRS, and he's going to do it all in one go through on their teammate Marcel, and M. Dorling thinks I'll have a go at that as well. Goes down the inside of one. We'll have the Red Bull on the outside of them. Bit more DRS for M. Dorling, but Marcel also has the DRS from their teammate, so it allows Marcel to hang on to 5th place. Very old hard tyres for Marcel as Emerge KDs does indeed get a fastest lap so far, 1:28.902. Could be an extra point for Emerge here, and not much of a difference from M1 Righty's time. So M1 Righty's absolutely lightning here today. 7.5 seconds clear of SS7 in 2nd place. And it's all now about who gets 4th. I think 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th places are pretty much certain now. 1st place is pretty much certain. So it all comes down to 4th, 5th and 6th. We're on lap 28 of 29. M1 Righty is about to start the final lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Season 5 of the G-Force Racing League. Marcelinki victorious in round 1. Is M1 Righty going to be victorious here in round 2? Emeleki trying their best to streak away. There's Dorling now. Take the opportunity to get through on Marcel. Doesn't look as though Dorling can do it. No, unless they're going to use... now this is the Red Bulls working together. We saw Emil drop back to give their teammate of Marcel DRS here down the second stretch. This is true teamwork here from the Red Bull team. They've got to be careful that they don't mess this up and allow Dorling the opportunity to steal 2 places in one go. Dorling on very old soft tyres, relatively speaking now, although Marcel is on very old hards, but they seem to have a reasonable amount of grip. We're going to get up to the front of this race very shortly. I've got my eye on where M1 Righty is. We do need to give them the honour of being on screen as they cross the start-finish line. They're coming down the final straight between turns 13 and 14 at the moment, as Aston and Rebel fight it out here. But we need to get up to M1 Righty, who is going to come over to finish victorious here in Sakir. Wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. SS7, as my voice gives way, takes second. Jaka Plozka takes third. Second and third for Mercedes. The Red Bull of Emeleki comes over fourth. Marcel hangs on to fifth. Dorling takes sixth place. Jaguarpour is going to come round to take seventh. They've got a little bit of track left to go. That's the gap between Dorling and Jaguarpour as we get a yellow flag, as that was Hommel trying hard, I think, for another fastest lap, but loses it on the as they go through turn 11. Jaguarpour's going to finish 7th. Good drive from them. Emerge KDs eventually finishes 8th, but with the fastest lap, an extra point from them. E36 Goat is going to be next over the line. They are going to get some points for them, scoring again this week for McLaren. Sadly, in the absence of their teammate Spiralex. And Hommel comes over in 10th, picks up the remaining point, and it's going to be, sadly, the Ferrari of Big Tonk. With a thank you, Big Tonk, for a nice dramatic finish there to their race here in Bahrain. Sadly for them, finishing in 11th place. Jaguarpour gets driver of the day here from the game. I'll let you know my choice in just a moment, but folks who are watching online with me on Twitch, let me know who would you give driver of the day to? Would you go to M1 Righty for their first victory here in Season 5? We go to SS7, pretty solid drive for them, finishing in 2nd place. Emeleki for his certainly decent attempt at victory here, but sadly didn't quite work out for them, finishing in 4th. Let me know who your driver of the day is. My driver of the day is Victor, M1 Righty. Different class to everyone else here for sure. P1 in qualifying and victorious here today, making that hard medium strategy work to an absolute T. So here's our final classification. M1 Righty victorious here in Bahrain. SS7 takes 2nd, back on the podium for SS7. 2 third places for Jakob in Season 5. In 3rd, Emeleki 4th. After giving us some very entertaining racing and what looked like a promising drive early on. Marcelinki, our victorious from last week, finishes 5th. Dorling in 6th. Jaguarpour in 7th. Emerge KDs in 8th. E36 Goat in 9th. Hommel in 10th. And Big Tonk in 11th. And non-finishes Spiralex, Mr. Hannes, and Ghosty. Not a bad round of racing, folks. Very good here in Bahrain, under the lights in the desert. That was very, very enjoyable. Let me know who your driver of the day is, folks, if you're still online here with me. And what I might try and do, if there's any drivers left in the garage, there is. Okay, I'm going to go and say a very quick hello to the Mercedes garage, because they are still online.
Will it start
hello,
normally
Team
or
Mercedes. How are we?
8 PM?
Are you
Or,
there?
It depends. If it's 50%, it'll probably start a bit earlier.
Technology issues here, folks.
There's a commentator in the VC that we cannot hear.
I do want to speak to the guys there. They're not my Discord is not detecting
Oh yeah,
my
I can't hear him.
voice. So as long as you can hear me on the stream, folks, we'll be okay. But I'm just going to hang up there. Let me try and reconnect to Discord through audio. Indeed, it's decided to completely drop. The correct audio connections I should be back on right now. Let's get back into the Mercedes garage and we'll say hello one more time. Team Mercedes, are you there?
We can hear you now.
Excellent. Okay, I lost my audio connection to Discord. Good drive from you boys today. Second and third. SS7, you pleased with that? Back on the podium?
Yeah, I was surprised with it, to be honest, after looking at the strategy at the start, and then my qualifying pace wasn't great, but it did surprise me. I didn't realise I'd get P6, but overall I think I just had consistent pace.
And so controversial question, Jakob, was this team orders? The owner said, you've got to let me win, or was SS7 just that bit quicker than you today?
A bit quicker today. I had no pace and I was happy he gave me DRS every lap. The setup didn't work at all for me.
Very honest of you, Jakob, but congratulations to both of you. 2 third places in a row for you, Jakob. Still keeps adding to your point tally. And SS7, congratulations on your first podium of the season after your return to the league. So well done both, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
Now, the McLaren garage is still there. And M1 Righty stopped by the Twitch chat. Thank you, my friend. Great drive from you today. My driver of the day by a country mile. Good to have you back. And that's not a bad way to open your account for Season 5. Congratulations. Brilliant drive. I'm going to go into the McLaren garage because it's actually quite busy in here. We've got 3 drivers. There's 2 McLaren drivers and a Ferrari driver. So it's good to see the teams getting along. Big Tonk, E36 Go, and Spiralex. Spiralex, can I come to you first? It looked as though today's race wasn't quite how you wanted it to go. Was it a bit of a tough one?
Yeah, it was a pretty tough one. I really knew that because Bahrain is just not a track for me. Like, even I've trained a bit, but I couldn't get the laps done quick enough. I don't know.
And was that a retirement more out of recognition you weren't going to finish in the points, or did you have damage, or is it you just had enough?
Yeah, I spun out of the hairpin. I think it's like turn 10 or so. And then I got into the wall, and then I had damage, and it was already enough for me.
Oh, tough luck. Well, thanks for racing today, but hopefully have you back next week. Now, your teammate, E36 Go, or Daddy Tonk, as I still affectionately know you as Daddy Tonk, so I'm going to call you that. How was the race for you today? Remind me, what was your tyre strategy today? You had 2 stops, didn't you?
So I went soft, hard, medium.
What was your favourite tyre out of that selection?
To be quite honest with you, I mean, when I was on the softs, that was quite good. But overall, pace-wise, I was better on the mediums.
We saw the mediums go off, the softs go off very, very quickly, though. Only about sort of 4 or 5 laps. Was that your experience too?
Yes, that was, yeah. Once they went off, I had loads of oversteer.
No, that's fortunate.
Yeah.
Well, you at least finished in the points, so more points for your team and for your own Drivers' Championship. So congratulations once again for those points here today. I'm going to come to the interloper in your garage, Big Tonk. So, Big Tonk, if you can hear me, you sadly for you, just outside the points. But how was the race for you today?
Yeah, it was quite good actually. Seeing I had 0 practice, I just turned up and.
Well, in that case, very well done. Even to finish in 11th place. It was very good to have you out there. So, question to all of you: will you be back next week?
Of course.
I'm going to try to be.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate you being on the stream with me as well. And thanks for racing today. And look forward to speaking to you next week, hopefully.
Cheers, Mark.
See ya.
Thank you to those drivers for having a chat with me on the stream. Thank you to all our drivers for giving us an excellent race here today with the G-Force Racing League. Next week, we are going to be in Abu Dhabi. Will we get a third different victor in Season 5, or will we get M1 Righty back over the line again? Will Jakob back to winning ways? Will Marcel be back on the podium after victory in Japan, or will it be somebody else entirely different? The only way to find out is join me 8 p.m. UK time and next Wednesday in Abu Dhabi. We'll be back under the lights of that incredible Yes Marina circuit. I know a lot of our drivers enjoy racing around that. That should give us an excellent spectacle. If you've been watching along, would like to take part, as you see, we've got a handful of seats potentially still available. Head over to the Discord server, sign up, and come and be part of the GeForce Racing Elite League. Until then, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you ever so much for watching, for speaking with me in the chat and taking part in today's stream. I look forward to speaking to you all next week on M1 Racing. Until then, stay safe and have a great week ahead. Bye for now.